Welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can go today by commenting on the Starting Line chat line. Starting Line chat line brought to you by Starting Line Counseling, startinglinecounseling.com for a 15-minute consultation for free. Or if you're in the Gunner, Texas area, you can swing by the shop. Find the address on startinglinecounseling.com. If Texas Tech baseball continues to lose in ways they are losing, I will definitely be taking Chase up on the offer there at Starting Line Counseling. They just, Carson, are finding new ways to lose. I remember the most embarrassing loss I've seen related to a Texas Tech baseball game. You were on the winning side of the two most embarrassing baseball finishes I've seen in person. You were on the winning side of the Oklahoma balk-off, where Tim Tadlock's dancing down the third baseline. And then the steal of home against Texas. Those are both fairly embarrassing. But to load the bases and then being a guy for a walk-off is just, that might be the worst. That might be the worst. And you lost this one.
That just, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When you know that you're in that situation, and loading the bases is the right call with runners at second or first and third, whatever, set up the force, get the out at home, do what you got to do to have it. And it worked out the first time with Tracer Lopez coming home and getting the out. It works out for you.
Worked in the first inning.
Worked in the first inning as well. But you also have to be smart enough when you're calling pitches from the dugout, because that's what happens, is the dugout is who calls the pitches. Matt Gardner calls the pitches, and know that we can't throw a back foot breaking ball, because if we miss, then it has the opportunity and probability of hitting the batter. Like, you've got to stay away right there, which every hitter in America should be looking away, because that's where they need to throw you. And just bad pitch selection, bad pitch execution. Altogether, just not a great performance by Texas Tech in the ninth inning. It starts off with a good piece of hitting by UCF to get on base. The leadoff man gets on. That's how you come back from down a run, is do that. And you tie it up, and then all of a sudden it felt like, Texas Tech was going to lose once they tied it up. It felt like you were going to lose. You make the play at shortstop. Tracer throws it to third to get the out at first, man. Just go get the out at first. Of course, if you make a good throw, he's probably out at third, but it was a terrible throw and he's safe easily at third. It's just one of those nights. And on the road, you can't play like that and expect to win, especially late against a team that hits the ball rather well. And they're also in that ballpark, yeah. And they also have their backs if they want to make a regional up against the wall a little bit too. So that's a big, because it felt like Texas Tech had some momentum going into this weekend. The way they played in the last two games against BYU, figured a couple things out. It seems like you figured out your bullpen, who's good, who's not. You just drubbed Stephen F. Austin on Tuesday, which is nice on a midweek, because midweeks really don't really matter until they do. And you make yourself feel pretty good about what you did on Tuesday. And then you go to UCF and you have a lead and you just piss it away, basically, is what happened. You just pissed it away. And, that's a tough one to swallow. And now you're going to have to figure out a way to win two of the next. You got to win the next two. Like that's a fact. I don't know that you can lose this series, Rob, and still, you're going to have to do a lot of really good things down the stretch to give yourself a chance to make a regional if you lose this series, especially if you get swept.
Every series you lose puts you deeper in a hole, which you're in a pretty deep hole right now. You have to win one of these. You can't get swept. You would love to win two. Conference play only, Carson. Batting average, Texas Tech, top half of the conference at 5th. Home runs, you're up there. You hit for power. Second in the conference in home runs. Texas has 16. You have 14. By the way, UCF third with 13. Now everyone's played a different amount of games. You're hitting 270, fifth in the conference. The slugging and whatnot. The Big 12 doesn't have what I wanted, which would be batting average with runners on base.
Yeah.
Which I think I could probably find that at Texas Tech, but I just wanted to look, throughout the conference landscape. Fielding percentage, you're ninth in the conference. There's 13 teams at 969, and it's not going well. Oklahoma State,
Pitiful.
949, which is bad. BYU and TCU, the two best fielding teams in the Big 12. Again, this is just in Big 12 play. Pitching-wise, you have the 11th best ERA. Again, there are 13 teams. UCF second worst at 6.27. You've played 10 Big 12 games. Kansas, the best ERA in the Big 12 at 3.99. They've played 10 Big 12 games. I mean, it is what it is. Certainly, to some extent, in the world of what you're doing and how you're doing it. You've got a decent batting average against. Right there in the middle of the conference, you're ninth, but just a couple of points away from being sixth. You strike out a good amount. You walk about as much as anyone in the conference. UCF has walked the most with 45. You've given up 40 walks, not free passes, but walks. You also have the third most hit by pitches. I mean, you are poor at pitching, and you're one of the worst teams at giving up free passes. And it's not getting better, and I don't see it getting better because of who you have and what you're having to do. Now, Matt Cure scratched last night. I don't know if he'll pitch this weekend. That pulls in free, loads the bases, gives up one run to start the game, and then pitched pretty damn well. You had a couple of guys come in and pitch pretty well, and then you didn't. And at the end of the day, it only takes one bad outing of
Josh Sanders pitched well up until the 9th.
Yeah.
7th and the 8th, he was great.
Yeah. It only takes 4 or 5 pitches. Now, one thing I'll push back on to everyone saying, well, why didn't you pull him when he struggled or pull the next guy when he struggled? Who are you putting it in? Yeah. It's a 3-game series in baseball. Friday night, having to force your way into a bullpen game, you don't know who's available. It was a bad situation, and you should have won, but you didn't. And it was a bad way to lose. But even as bad as the pitching has been, you should win a Friday game in Orlando at that ballpark with more than 4 runs.
Yep. Fact.
You should.
Yeah.
You left 12 on base last night.
Yeah. And really the only guy that had it figured out at the plate was, once again, Damian Bravo. 5 for 5. So
5 for fighting.
Yeah, 5 for 5. He only scored 1 run. No RBIs because nobody got on base in front of him. Landon Stripling was 1 for 4. But yeah, Cade McGee 1 for 5. Austin Green 0 for 5. Drew Woodcock's 1 for 5. Kevin Bizzell was good. He was 3 for 4. But other than Bizzell and Damian Bravo, you just really didn't have any production. The one hit that Stripling did get was a big 2 RBI base knock, and that was huge for Texas Tech. So that gave you the lead at the time. But yeah, just and you look down at the bullpen at the end of the game, like you just said, Rob, and it was I think Brendan Lysick and Parker Hutera warming up in the bullpen in the 9th is who they showed. And do you have more belief in Josh Sanders right now, or do you have a lot of belief in what Parker Hutera can do when he comes in? But right there, it's right on left the same. And Josh Sanders throws a really good sinker. Here's my thing too, is Sanders throws a good sinker. Why not just stay with the sinker and see if you can get a guy out? instead of throwing the stupid bracket. Like that's what I go back to is the
Yeah.
pitch calling. But whenever you call a pitch, the kid has to execute the pitch. Also, he wasn't throwing the breaking ball very well, and he was missing in the same spot a lot. It was a lot the same. So yeah, I have a hard time understanding what the thinking was in the dugout and on the mound. Like if you don't feel comfortable throwing the pitch, I don't know if they have the ability to shake off. We did in college, but if you shook off and you gave up a bomb, then you're probably getting your
Right.
stuff ripped off.
Yeah.
And
By the
yeah,
way,
just
UCF RPI 5. So 2 wins here is ginormous.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And that's what we said coming into the series. Like this is a big series for both teams. It'll help you tremendously in the RPI. Um, I just think that it's now you're in gotta win territory. You gotta win. Today you gotta win. And if you don't win today, then tomorrow becomes a definite must win. Because if you get swept at UCF, unless you go sweep TCU and you sweep Oklahoma or whoever else you got on this Houston at home, then I don't know. There's an opportunity for you coming into a regional in June. Like I just don't see it. I don't see it at all.
You're certainly in danger of missing the tournament. And with every loss, that gets more and more real.
Hmm.
Man, college baseball stats are so hard to find.
Yeah. Well, and I was looking at text. They don't have any stats with runners in scoring position or
Yeah,
runners on base.
I looked all that up. You'd
Yeah.
have to add them up yourself game by game.
Yeah, and they have it during like on the live stats. If you follow along on the
Right.
games, it'll tell you, but
Yeah.
it won't tell you just on the stats, which is weird, but understandable, I guess. They don't want everybody seeing that. It's too easy to scout from other teams' perspectives, I guess, if you put that in there. But yeah, just not a good loss. Not a good loss. Now you're 4-6 in the Big 12, where you could have got back to even in the Big 12 at 500, kind of like UCF. Like we look at it, these teams are very similar in what they need to do here this weekend. Like very very similar. UCF needs a series win. If they lose a series at home to Texas Tech, not good for their hopes postseason wise. And I know we're talking postseason, and we're basically just getting started in Big 12 play. It seems like, but it's coming pretty fast. I mean, we're in April at this point now, so after this weekend, so yeah, just gotta start putting some wins together. Gotta start playing some best, really good baseball. And as Tim Tadlock says, you gotta start throwing and catching and separating balls and strikes really well. If you can do that at a high level, you're gonna win a lot of baseball games. And right now, Texas Tech's just not doing that at a high level. Just not doing it at a very high level, which stinks.
Now, you
And,
certainly believe in Kyle Robinson.
right.
He's on an absolute tear. He's had 2 really good starts in a row since that Texas game,
Yep.
which was kind of a perfect storm of wind and opportunity for Texas.
Bunch of hungry hitters in that lineup too, because they were all struggling a little bit.
Yeah. But beyond, Damian Bravo and Dylan Maxey, who I don't believe has batted enough to, qualify for all the stat leader stuff. You don't have anybody batting over 400, which in college baseball is kind of that's the mark. Where in Major League
Yeah,
Baseball, it's close to 300.
Pompey's the next closest.
Gavin Cash is, inching toward 300, but doesn't really have the power right now. Which is what made him so good last year. He had a bunch of singles last year and then hit a bunch of home runs, which why he was leading the country and everything. Defensively, I think you have to live with Pompey. Pompey has to play.
Yeah, because he's got to be in the lineup. I think you got to keep the bat in the lineup. I mean, he didn't play last night.
If Pompey's playing second, Tracer's playing short. If you want to get Austin Green at second base or
Travis
Will
Sanders, you got to
Burns or
DH Pompey.
Travis Sanders, no, you got to play him at short.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
You can't play all those guys together. I
Yeah.
don't think. Um, you got to play him at one spot or the other, or I guess DH him. But you have Owen Washburn, who's sitting above 300, Landon Stripling, Kevin
Stripling.
Bazell.
Yeah,
I mean, I think at this point, Bazell and Maxey both need to be in the lineup.
I agree.
And where does that put Stripling? If you put Stripling in a corner outfield spot, you put Austin Green at second. If you're not going to be good at defense, lean into it and put the best offense on the field.
Yeah.
And that would be Stripling somewhere, Washburn, Maxey, Bazell. I mean, you have to get these bats on the field, and I think Poppy's one of those.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Tim Tadlock said it in his show this week that TJ Pompey was the best hitter in fall camp. He hit like 7 or 8 home runs.
Yeah.
Every pitcher hated throwing to him because they couldn't get the dude out. He said he hit about 500 in the fall. So yeah, just Pompey's got to be in the lineup, but he's also got to figure out how to lock down a spot. Like, he's got all the intangibles you want him to have at shortstop. He looks the part, and he just has a little bit of the yips sometimes. So yeah, just surely if you leave him out there for long enough, he'll figure it out, or it's just going to become a lot worse. He's already got 7 errors on the season, which is not a good number. Especially when you play on turf.
Yeah,
at home.
You have those errors anyways. It's not like you have a crystal clear defense.
No.
And then all of a sudden you're putting Pompey out there and your defense is bad. The defense has been bad, period.
Yeah.
With lots of guys making mistakes. How many errors does Tracer Lopez have?
That's a good point.
So
let's see, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we can pull it up right here.
4 errors on the season for Tracer Lopez.
So
4 errors on the season for Damian Bravo. 7 for Pompey.
Bravo
3 for Cade.
4 errors.
3 for Cade McGee. Yeah.
In left field.
Yeah, I think most of Bravo's are throwing errors.
Throwing to the wrong bag.
Yeah, or just throwing it over people's heads.
It's just rare you have that many errors in the outfield.
Yeah.
But again, he is batting, so you have to leave him in the lineup. All right. Let's move on to some good baseball. As Roy says, how about them D-backs? I think they scored 27 yesterday.
14 in the second inning.
I think they had 16 total.
Okay. Yes, 16.
And then he says, every time the baseball team loses, I drink a little more of the Kool-Aid for football, thinking we are sacrificing a good baseball season for football. And Tech fans are very, sports fans are very superstitious. And I you know what? I hope it works that way. Because it seems like you can't be good at 3 things at once. When you were good at basketball and baseball, your football was really bad. So maybe you need to sacrifice one of these programs, and that's what it takes to get the football team back. I don't know. I think you can be good at everything. Florida was for a stretch. They're from like 07 to 10. 06 to 10. They were winning football championships and going to Omaha, and
Billy Donovan had them in Final Fours.
I think they won 2 national 2?
They were always in the running for the basketball in March Madness. Yeah. Yeah. LSU can do all 3 as well. Yeah.
Historically,
LSU men's basketball has not been as good, but
they've had,
they've had good teams though. Yeah.
They've had Shaq, they've had Pistol Pete. But I wouldn't say, I mean, that's like Texas. Texas has been good in football and baseball, but not basketball.
Texas A&M as well. I mean, Texas A&M football, Texas A&M baseball. The basketball team made the tournament this year.
I wonder what program is the best all time at all 3. It's got to be Florida.
It's probably somebody in the SEC.
Certainly since 2000, it's Florida.
Yeah. Roy said that LSU's women's basketball team makes up for the men's.
That's a good research question. What team historically is best at the major three sports in college?
Yeah, what school?
What school? All right, but I was trying to get to the Texas Rangers, who won yesterday. I do want to get an umpire question. I know you've not umpired a ton of baseball, but you are a basketball official, football official, so you can be our official official. Um, did you see? Well, now I don't remember what team it was. There's a play yesterday where the second baseman, not catcher, not home plate, the second baseman caught and tagged a guy out. His foot was, half on the bag. So bag, foot, covering up that much of the bag. He swipe tags the guy by a mile. He starts running off the field. The batter gets up, gets off the bag. The umpire starts waving his hands. Safe. Everyone's kind of like, what? The guy gets back on the bag. He said he blocked the bag. That's a new rule in Major League Baseball. You cannot block the bag. He didn't. And I don't know how they talked about it after the game. We'll talk about the Texas Rangers foul ball, no foul ball debacle.
Ooh.
But just giving officials, umpires, another thing to subjectively screw up is so dumb to me. Were there major injuries at second base last year I missed?
I don't know.
Did Chase Utley crack his ankle again? Trying to
Yeah, Chase Utley. I don't know.
Like,
yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't remember there being one.
And I guess you didn't see the safe call there that was clearly out.
No, and here's the thing too is the rules, which this is college baseball, and up until I don't know about the rule change in Major League Baseball, they're always doing something stupid to make the game quote unquote more safe. Screw that. If you have the ball in your possession, you can block the bag all you want. You have to give the runner a lane to slide in. And with as big as the bases are, there's nobody that has a big enough foot, especially at second base, to block the whole bag. So the runner always is going to have a lane to slide. And as long as he has a lane to slide, then that's all that matters. I don't understand why he would have been called safe, especially if he has if the second baseman has the baseball before the runner begins his slide. Like that's just baseball 101 these days. You have to give the runner a lane, an opening to be able to slide to the base. But if you have the ball, you can block the bag all you want. Like there's no rule that says you can't block the bag. There's just a rule that says if you don't have the ball, then you cannot block the runner's lane to get to said base.
There was another
I
play.
don't understand that.
They call it obstruction. There was another play today with a back pick at first where the first baseman is, his whole butt is in front of the bag.
Yeah.
And the guy slides back between his legs and they call him out with no obstruction. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yes. And some umpires are just idiots and want to be a part of the game too. It must have been Angel Hernandez or somebody at second base making that play call, but
it used to just be home plate. Now it's every bag.
I guess now it's every bag.
That you can call obstruction on.
Yeah.
Which
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like if the throw beats you, then there's no way you can have obstruction. Like I just don't understand how you can have obstruction if the throw beats you. So they did clear the benches in New York today, the Mets and Brewers game, for a hard slide into second base.
As they should.
Yeah.
So it was the Detroit game yesterday.
Detroit. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, Detroit Mets. I've got it. All right, I'm sending it to you. I need you to see this before we finish talking about it. Because I need a better ruling here. All right, so I've
send it to me.
Send it to your DMs. It's great radio here. But I will say, I just, to insert yourself like that in a call has been a problem in most major sports. We've seen it in the NBA with the ejections and the technicals. Uh, a guy threw a ball too hard at the NBA official the other day, just returning the ball after a play, and the official was slighted and teed him up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm not going to say the gender of the official. And then in football, you obviously see it all the time. It seems like every big game we talk about on Monday after a weekend is some big, penalty. Or in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, it was the phantom holding call that was called. In the AFC Championship game, it was he out of bounds? Was he not out of bounds? You just see it in every major game. Some penalty is called that changes the trajectory of the game. And it seems like they're adding more calls, especially with the hip drop tackle being banned. There are more and more subjective calls that are going to be ruining sports, for a lack of a better way to put it. What do you think about this obstruction at second base from yesterday?
Yeah, that was brutal. That was in a spring training game, by the way. Maybe one of the last ones, but it was so bad.
Oh, it didn't happen yesterday? That was an old thing?
No. Yeah, that's in a spring training game from earlier this year.
Oh, well, apparently it just blew up yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not as bad then.
No. And Francisco Lindor is playing shortstop for the Mets in this game.
But his foot's not even in front of the bag.
Yeah, it's not a good.
He has the ball a full body slide in front of.
Yeah. Francisco Lindor is not even, his foot is, he's got a clear lane. There's no way he's going to be safe even if he's not blocking. But yeah, it's a bad call. It's a bad call. Really bad call. Yep.
Well, that was from the 21st.
Yep.
Interesting. Anyways, well, that makes me feel a little bit dumb.
Still, though, it's the same thing. It's a bad call.
Terrible.
Of course,
call.
it's like in spring training, they could challenge balls and strikes if they wanted to. And now in the regular season, you cannot, which in the Rangers game last night, there was a couple that you wish you could have challenged on both sides of the thing. But anyway.
Speaking of bad calls, last night in the Texas Rangers home opener, in which they hung the banner. Did you have a problem with the wrinkly banner?
Yes, I did. I didn't like it. My OCD was getting pretty bad.
There's not a place, the roof opens and closes, so you can't hang it where you might have to open the roof or close the roof.
Right.
Is there not a place that's straight? I mean, they hung it in a 60-degree bent bar.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's the other way, 100.
Surely that's not just going to sit there like that the whole year, right?
Surely they fixed that, right?
Yeah, they have to.
I mean, it doesn't look bad, as bad as
World Series championship banner. I don't really care.
It's still there. You still won it.
Yeah,
Doesn't negate the fact that you won the World Series. But it is just a little wrinkly because of how it was hung.
Mm-hmm.
Because they hung it at
at an angle.
So it's,
yeah.
Anyways, the Houston Chronicle or somebody today was like, the internet response to the Texas Rangers terrible banner. It's like, no, they didn't. There were 3 tweets about it. Shut up. You won the World Series, so I think you can hang the banner wherever you damn well please. But anyways, late in the game, you're up a run. There's runners on first and second. I believe it is 3-2.
2 outs.
And 2 outs. Were there 2 outs?
I believe there were 2 outs, yeah.
2 outs. And 2 strikes on the guy. Or I guess there was 1 strike at the time because he called it a swing strike. So the ball gets away from Jonah Heim. And Jonah Heim stands up like it's a foul ball. And then he turns to the umpire.
Because it was.
That's a foul ball. And then he turns to the pitcher and says, that was a foul ball. All the while, the runners for the Cubs are rounding the bases.
Just running.
And then you get all the way home, and Jonah Heim finally, pulls his head out and runs after the ball and throws it to the pitcher. It's too late. But they score a run and tie the game. Now, and then you show that replay. Now, to my knowledge, everything is replayable in Major League Baseball, except apparently foul strikes.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Cannot review. I mean, you have 16 camera angles looking at the batter. How can you not review that? That seems like an easy review.
And that was clear as day that the ball was foul. I mean, the ball changes directions at the
And
very end on the swing. Like you could see it hit the bat. And how the umpire didn't understand that or didn't hear it or what, I get there's a lot of noises coming in a major league ballpark, packed crowd. It's hard to hear sometimes. But yeah, uh just a terrible way to give up a tie in a game. Obviously, it didn't come back to hurt the Rangers. They come back and end up getting a run back. Travis Jankowski hits one of his what might be 3 home runs on the season. He's never hit more than 2 in a season, by the way. I think he's got like 6 in his whole career.
I think he said that let him go into 2 hands. Yeah, so 6.
Yeah, 6 in his whole career. So, just a big swing of the bat off the bench by Travis Jankowski, and that's the kind of role he's going to have to play in this year with Wyatt Langford making the team. But you'll love to see Travis Jankowski ready for the moment and put a big swing on it. And the baseball god said, "We'll let you tie this thing back up, and then we'll let you win it in extras." And kudos to the Rangers for how they pitched last night. Nathan Eovaldi was great. The bullpen was good last night too. Josh Spores comes out. He looks really good. Look like the Josh Spores we saw in the playoffs. You love to see that. So, yeah, just all in all, I thought the Rangers played really well last night. Obviously, look, it's a 162 game season. If they would have lost, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. The Cubs are still a good team. It stinks that Justin Steele is going to be on the IL for a long time now, probably. Hopefully, it's not a hamstring tear and it's just a hamstring strain and he's only on the 10-day and he can come back because he's going to have to be their ace and they're going to need him if they're going to win that division this year with the Cardinals and Brewers on their heels and Reds too. So stinks for the Cubs. They've got a good lineup, a good young lineup. The Rangers, I liked the lineup last night. I thought Wyatt Langford looked like he deserved to be in the big leagues. He gets his first at bat, didn't take the bat off his shoulder, didn't look great. He's probably a little jittery in his first at bat, looking for one pitch, and this guy's throwing 50 different variations of the same pitch, and it's just tough. Like Justin Steele's really good.
Well, I know he can't hear what the announcers are saying.
Right.
But as Wyatt Langford strolls up, they say he looks a lot like Mike Trout. He's also got a little Bregman in him.
His arms look like Paul Goldschmidt. We're talking about all stars right here.
Big wrists and huge forearms like Paul Goldschmidt. And then they're like, he's smart like Buster Posey.
Yeah.
I mean, all 4 of those
We're
guys.
Talking about they might be all 4 Hall of Famers.
3 MVPs. Does Buster Posey have an MVP?
Yes, Buster Posey has 2 MVPs. Actually.
Does he have 2 MVPs?
Yeah.
Certainly Goldschmidt and maybe Goldschmidt. Does Goldschmidt have an MVP? He's got at least one.
I don't know if Goldie does.
He was real hot there for a while with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I don't know if
he was on the Diamondbacks. He probably didn't win one. But Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, and then obviously Mike Trout has 72, MVPs that you can talk about. Just incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I know obviously he can't hear you, but to put that kind of pressure on him in his first at bat, and then he has a backwards K, which you're going to have a lot of those in your career, especially in today's baseball league. But it was just interesting. And then Josh Young doing the interview, getting 2 opportunities and making 2 outs. The first player on an ESPN broadcast to record 2 outs while the interview is going. So there you go, setting records.
He's Josh Young, man. He's Josh Young.
He is Josh freaking Young.
The dude's it's crazy to say this because it's only his second year on the team, but he seems like he's a leader in that clubhouse, right? Like it seems like he's one of the guys that everybody kind of looks to provide some energy and those types of things. And he's always the first guy in the front of the dugout to greet. And like, that's the Elvis Andrews type person, right? And Elvis Andrews had a big role in what the Rangers locker room was when you're having those successes in 2010, 2011, 12, all those years.
I would almost go Andrews, but he's I mean, putting high praise on people, but I mean, he's
And
Michael
he's the
Young.
same age as Elvis was too.
He's Michael Young.
Yeah, Michael Young.
Now,
Yeah,
Michael Young was not on good teams for his whole youth
a
and
while.
how he was
Yeah.
growing into a leadership role, but he was at the end, and he was a big part of those teams just like anybody else was, and he was even kill and a leader. And, even when he wasn't batting good at the end, people were still using the hashtag leadership because he brought your team a lot of leadership, and you couldn't move on from him until
Yeah. Well,
you did.
and you learn that Wyatt Langford roomed with Josh all during spring training, and Josh was banged up all during spring training, but
Hey,
he's sitting there and basically just in Wyatt Langford's ear as another guy to help him guide him through what spring training looks like, because Wyatt Langford had never been through a spring training. He'd barely been through a minor league season in the minors. So played 44 games last year, and that's after playing a full college baseball season in which his team was in the College World Series and was a couple games short of winning a national title for Kevin O'Sullivan. So uh, Wyatt Langford and being able to just talk to Josh Young and be his roommate and download everything at the end of every day at in their apartment wherever they lived. That's huge for a young guy like that. And Josh Young is kind of navigating. He's just done navigating his first year in the big leagues. So I think there's a lot of things that a young guy like Josh can teach a young guy like Wyatt. And that might have helped him. I don't know how much it helped him at the plate, but it might have helped him in his approach to the game. Um,
yeah, how to be
and
a
the fact
professional
that,
baseball player, yeah.
yeah. And so, I think Josh had to learn that last year too, because there's a big difference between college baseball and professional baseball. I learned that very quickly. And these guys are playing it at a much, much, much higher level than I ever thought of. So it's a big deal for that to happen, and for a young guy like a Josh Young to take another guy like a Wyatt Langford, and then for Wyatt Langford, who Josh Young probably should have been the rookie of the year had he played a full season last year, to say, "Hey, I want to learn everything I possibly can from you." Like, that's maturity in its own self too, because you could come in thinking, this guy's only been in the big leagues 1 year. What does he know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh Young is a mature guy. Wyatt Langford seems very mature, and I think he's gonna be just fine in the big leagues. Obviously, he's gonna have times where he's gonna struggle, but
Yeah.
it's cool to get a walk off win in game one. The last time you did it, switch hitting catcher in 2010, Jared Saltalamacchia does it. Switch hitting catcher walks you off in game one of this. And what'd you do in 2010, Rob?
Went to the World Series.
Yeah, you won the AL pennant. So good omen.
Who'd
I
you
don't
lose
know.
the World Series to?
The San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy.
Oh, gee.
That's right. Buster Posey.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm just looking
Yep.
through.
Yep. Posey was the NL Rookie of the Year that year in 2010. And then the NL MVP in 2012. He only won one. I was thinking the Rookie of the Year he also won the MVP, but he just won the Rookie of the Year that year.
I'm looking through. You just said something like, Joshua was a leader, obviously.
Yeah.
Josh Young came up. He's 26.
Mm-hmm.
He came up for the first time in 2022, played the last 30 some odd games, and then played 122 games last year. He's 26. You look at the rest of this lineup. Evan Carter, younger, came up first time last year. Adolis Garcia is 31, but broke out in 2021 as a Ranger.
Well, and he's only been in the U.S. for how many years now? So he's young in U.S. years.
Yeah, and his Major League Baseball career is certainly young.
Yeah,
I think 2018 is when he first broke into the majors, and then didn't play again until 2021 with the Rangers. And then you obviously have Simeon and Seager, but they're only on year 3 in Texas. I mean, you don't have a lot of guys on this roster that have been here for 10 years. You look at Ezekiel Duran.
or in the organization.
He came up with Josh Young. He started in 2020, came up before Josh Young, and then they kind of traded off third base there in 2022. And then Leody Taveras came up in 2020 and only played 100 and plus games the first time last year at the major league level. That's kind of disingenuous because he played 99 in 2022. But
yeah,
point remains. Played less than 50 in his first 2 seasons, and then 100 games, 143 in the last 2. So, I mean, Josh Young is, funnily enough, after playing his
apparently the
year,
tenured guy.
he's kind of the veteran.
Yeah.
Along with, his middle infielders, they're kind of the veterans there. And, of course, Nathaniel Lowe will come back, and he's a veteran presence. But you're, by the All-Star break, you could really look at Josh Young if he's having a good year as the greatest Red Raider to ever play in the Major League Baseball. It's not going to take much for him to do that.
No.
And then you have, kind of a veteran Texas Ranger here. By the way, he's doing a series. I don't know if you saw this on, I guess, Instagram. I saw it today, where he's going to card shops around the country and checking out card shops. So he posted his first, I guess, episode at the Phoenix card shop. So I'm guessing around,
So spring
as he
training
travels,
started.
as he travels around Major League Baseball parks on his off days, he's going to go hit some card shops. By the way, today is an off day for the Texas Rangers. They play again tomorrow. Cody Bradford, and Kyle Hendricks, former Ranger.
Yeah. Roy said we do have a Red Raider that threw a perfect game. Yeah, Dallas Braden himself.
Dallas Braden,
but that was about as high as his career got.
Yeah, he's probably the most tenured. I mean, you look at Colomé, who's still in the league.
Yeah, Daniel Colomé. He's with the Orioles now.
He was at Did he play for Dan Spencer? How long has it been?
Yeah, he played for Dan Spencer.
Josh Tomlin.
I think he just played 1 year because Danny played at Seward and then played at Texas Tech.
Josh Tomlin played for several years there with Cleveland. Yeah. Chad Bettis.
Well, Josh Bard played for a long time too.
Catcher, yes.
Catcher, yeah.
He is right now probably the best position player. You've had several pitchers up. You have 4 current Red Raiders with several more knocking on the door pitching wise.
Yeah.
And then you have Josh Young, who's the only Red Raider who played so far. But again, it position player wise, it's not going to take much for Josh Young to be the greatest ever. I mean, he's the only All-Star. I don't think Josh Bard ever made an All-Star game. He is the second Red Raider to be drafted in the first round. Now there are 3 of them, I believe, with his brother. And I don't know if this is the right name. Doug Alt rings a bell. Is that the right name?
Doug Alt, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was he drafted in the first round?
I don't remember if he was drafted in the first round. Yeah.
For some reason, that name sticks out in my head as the first Red Raider to be drafted in the first round. That's easily Googleable.
Yes.
I don't think... Was he a Red Raider? Yes, he was.
I don't know.
He was.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the name. This would be a question for Kelly Robinson, not Carson Robinson.
He was drafted in 1976. No, he made his Major League Baseball career debut in 1976. No, he was signed as an amateur free agent. Who was the first? Again, this is great radio here.
So good.
What do you think about the Sweet 16? Well, I look up who the first Red Raider baseball player was to.
I don't like that Iowa State screwed me and lost to Illinois. I do like that Terrence Shannon plays for Illinois, so that's a little bit of a. Actually, for most Red Raiders, some feel it like it's like a sting or like a shot to the old gut that Terrence Shannon is winning all these games with Illinois. I look at it as Terrence Shannon was a Red Raider and always will be. Just the circumstances. He got out whenever he should have. Like I don't blame Terrence Shannon for leaving
Yeah.
or saying that, he shouldn't have left. He only left and whatever. He moved closer to home. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
He's playing in Champaign, which is just south of Chicago now. He gets to play in front of his family all the time now.
And he stayed all summer and did like community service until he had
Yes.
to leave.
Yeah, and he's still
like-
come back to Lubbock some. He worked I think he worked with Matt Mooney in a camp a couple of years ago, even after he had transferred. So, I think what TJ Shannon, he's the star for Illinois. He is the star for Brad Underwood's team, and Brad Underwood's a great head coach to play for. I think he fits TJ's style. Obviously, TJ wasn't like he didn't want a lockdown defender. He wasn't the kind of kid that wants to buy in just to the defensive side. He's a more offensive style player, and he went to a school that fits his style of play. Like, I think TJ Shannon did everything that's right for him. There we go. Now I'm back. He did everything that's right for himself, and I think TJ Shannon is in the spot he should be, and Illinois is one of the best teams in the country right now. Obviously, they're one of the top 8. So, kudos to TJ Shannon in Illinois.
And I think the national championship is Illinois UConn. I know Purdue's out there. I know Houston's still out there, but it just seems like that is a really good matchup for the Elite Eight. Certainly the best matchup in the Elite Eight. Now, if Marquette and Houston wins, that's a good matchup. Alabama, I
did not have Clemson and Alabama playing each other in the Elite Eight, though. I did not have that.
I had that as my chaos bracket, and Alabama Clemson is certainly chaos, but no, I did not have them either.
Yeah, I did not see North Carolina getting beat by Nate Oates. I did not see Dawkins getting outcoached by Nate Oates.
By the way,
Nate Oates.
Donald Harris.
There you go. Yeah. Also a two-star, two-sport athlete.
Who was he drafted by? It's easy.
Can't remember.
First guess. Very easy.
The Texas Rangers.
Then you had a couple of second-round picks. Matt Miller of the Detroit Tigers, who saw a little bit of time.
Still lives in Lubbock, I believe.
Played in 96. Brad Ralston. Not in the first round, but drafted in the 27th. Shout out to him. Josh Bard, who you mentioned, a third-round pick to the Rockies. Had MLB at-bats from 2002 to 2011. Let's see. It looked like there was one more first-round pick that I missed. But it was like in the supplemental.
First round.
Yeah. Barrett Barnes.
Yeah, Barrett Barnes. Yeah. Played for Dan Spencer.
But it was pick 45. So that's pretty.
That was by the Pirates. Who was he selected by?
The Pirates.
Yeah.
From Houston.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of top 10 round draft picks in the Tadlock era. Before you get to Grant Little, who was the highest draft pick of the Tadlock era until Josh Young. And then you had Bryce Bonin in the third round, Clayton Beater in the second round. Shout out to Clayton Beater as the opening day roster for the Yanks.
Got a big win over the Houston Astros last night. I couldn't decide who I wanted to win that game.
Yeah.
Actually, I do know who I want to win that. The Yankees.
Yankees, yeah.
Because the more the Astros lose, the better it is for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a sweep, New York.
That would be awesome.
Juan Soto throwing the go-ahead run out at the plate.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
All that.
Beautiful.
All right. It's Easter. Any predictions for the tomb? It's going to be empty. All right. That was probably a little sacrilegious. Next week, we've got more Texas Tech baseball, obviously, a midweek against Stanford coming up, obviously. I don't know
Yeah,
why I'm
two
saying
set,
obviously so much. But
2 game set.
a tour against Stanford. You've got the Elite Eight on Saturday and Sunday. The Sweet 16 wraps up tonight. So tons of stuff to talk about on Monday. We also, Carson, let me check the calendar.
When does the
Next,
UFL kick off?
next weekend is WrestleMania.
Ooh. Yeah, I saw a little promo from The Rock today.
Yeah, did you see him beat the crap out of Cody and make him believe?
Cody Rhodes, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes. Dusty is the dad. He's
Yeah,
not.
Dusty's his dad.
If he's fighting on WrestleMania, we've the Undertaker's back and we've crossed the
We've crossed the bridge. Yeah,
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 because
yeah.
he's dead.
Cody Rhodes, not his dad. His dad is gone.
And then Dustin is in a different promotion,
Right. He's in what
AEW.
AEW. There you go.
Yeah, which
All Elite Wrestling.
I hope he shows up at WrestleMania. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, anybody can show up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, when the storyline is family versus Cody, and it's the Samoans versus
the Bloodline versus Cody
Bloodline.
Rhodes is.
I didn't know if you would know the Bloodline. I just
I stay up with it, Rob. I stay up with it.
All right.
Yeah. There's a little thing you can watch every week. It's on Twitter or whatever that shows you like what happened this week on Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, that's how I stay up with it. I don't watch it anymore.
That's what I do. I have not watched the Raw in a long time. I watched the Royal Rumble.
Yes, I did.
So every year I watch the Royal Rumble pay-per-view and WrestleMania. And then I don't pay attention again until January.
Yeah.
But there are like Instagram accounts that are like, if you didn't watch Raw, here's what happened, and it's like 30 seconds. I will watch those.
Where's WrestleMania at this year?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I want to say
I'm on Google right now.
I want to say it's not Hollywood. It's not Los Angeles. I think maybe Philly was last year. It could be Philly though. Is it Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah.
Wow. It could be chilly for WrestleMania. It could get chilly. Yeah.
We had it at MetLife maybe one year, and there were like heaters on the poles, on the ring posts
to keep so they can sweat.
And they said it was like 95 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was brutal.
Just think about how if the mat got cold, how hard that would be. Oh, yeah. How bad that would hurt. Yeah.
There's probably heaters in the mat and on the posts.
Underneath and everything. Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so we'll talk WrestleMania next week. We've also got plenty of baseball. The Cubs Rangers series will be wrapped up. The Yankees Astros series will be wrapped up. I don't think there's anything else to talk about today. Did I miss anything? The UFL is this weekend. Do you want to make some UFL picks?
This weekend? No. I don't know anything about them.
No.
Just give me the Arlington Renegades, the Dallas Renegade, whatever they're called. Yeah.
Arlington. We'll start those in like week 3 once we know who's who.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
that's what I mean.
Next Friday we'll start doing some Major League Baseball picks. With series already in, we'll save that till next time.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, the Dallas Stars are in first place, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
Have you seen the stats going around for Texas teams?
No.
The Stars are 6-0 in their last 6.
Yeah, they've won 6 in a row. Yes.
The Mavericks have won 5 or 6 in a row.
Yes.
The Rockets have won 5 or 6 in a row.
Don't care.
And the Spurs are 3-3 in their last 6. But they're awful.
That's pretty good for them. That's pretty good for them.
So the state
to be 500. They're usually 0-6.
Since last Thursday, I believe, are undefeated beyond the Spurs. Do you remember what happened last week?
No.
In the state of Texas, politically.
No.
Good job. That was a test. They banned the hub.
The hub.
Yeah, good job. Good job, Carson. You don't know. The hub. The hub.
Okay. I don't keep up with politics, man.
It's not politics. The hub, man. It's starts with a P, ends with a hub.
Oh yeah.
And that,
Okay.
and then all the Texas teams start winning. So maybe there's something to it. I saw a graphic. Now we're caught up. I didn't see a graphic since they banned the hub.
Fair enough.
Mavericks are undefeated. The Rockets are undefeated.
That
The
was
Stars are undefeated. And the Rangers are undefeated. They've not
the
lost.
Rangers are undefeated. Yes, they are.
So there you
Oh
go.
man.
The state of Texas has their legs underneath them.
This is like the end of last Friday, I think, with the cocaine jokes,
The drugs.
the booger sugars.
Look, if you can get off, Carson, if you can get off your cocaine and stop looking at the hub, then we can all go undefeated.
then everybody's gonna win a lot of games.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's
no
one's commenting anymore.
No, nobody's commenting. Yeah, Roy's just laughing if he is here.
Hub,
he doesn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
And I believe, not that I went and looked or researched it all. I think several websites have since followed suit.
Yeah, I did not. I never knew anything about that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Your wife will be proud of you when she watches this back later.
She won't watch it back, but it's okay.
I'll tell her. Next time. I haven't seen her in.
I'm a good influence, Rob. I'm a good person.
I believe you. I believe you. We've always been good influences for each other.
It's true. It's true.
I'm probably worse
a whole lot of
you than you on me.
Well, depending on what year it was, yeah.
Yeah, we'd had some back and forth, I guess. All right, that's before we get too incriminating. That's all I have.
Yep, I'm good. I'm done.
All right, let's stay undefeated.
Peace.
Stay off the hub.